Scene one.
Action.
That was really good. I actually go to a film school, so that was really bad. Anyway, hi.
Hi.
Welcome to Estonian History 101.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, our so-called modern history, everything only started in the 13th century when we were still pagans. We believed in spirits of the forest, the rivers or whatnot. We did trade with our neighbours. Things were going great.
Yes.
But at that time, there was no Estonian kingdom. There were different counties across the land who had their own democratically elected leader, and we didn't call ourselves Estonian. We called ourselves the people of the land. Now, but everything then changed in the beginning of the 13th century when the Germans came.
Germans.
Everyone. And this was called basically the Livonian Crusades, when the German crusaders hopped on their horses, took out their swords, and came to Estonia to bring us all religion. Because the Pope said,
Yes.
go and Christianize these evil pagans in the north, and your soul will forever remain pure. But while you are there, you must take their lands.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. And laterwards, Estonia has also been basically owned by Denmark, Sweden, Poland, Russia, and that's it.
That's it.
But the thing is, through all of these wars that went through Estonia, the Germans who were still would stay here. Who was still alive, that is.
At least,
would
yeah.
stay here, and they would just start paying taxes to the new ruler, stay as they were. Because there was always a bit of a problem. Estonia, far province. Kinda cold, kinda boring. So these noblemen, you didn't really want to leave your nice life behind in New York to come govern a bunch of snow over here.
True.
So they made a deal with the Germans. Stay loyal, pay us the new taxes, your life will carry on the same as it was before. So the overall dominant culture was German. But of course, we Estonians, we had our own peasant culture. And for us, things finally started looking up in the beginning of the 19th century. Basically, that's when we got these small, lovely rights that we couldn't be sold and killed anymore.
Yes.
Things went up from that point, I tell ya. And laterwards, because slavery was abolished, we just had the time to, again, sit down and start thinking.
No.
What is Estonian?
Yes.
What is our culture all about? And maybe, just maybe, it would help to have our own country. And the dream of our own country became a reality when we declared independence on the 24th of February 1918.
I was close.
It's not at all. Okay. Which didn't really last for long because this is Estonia. In 1939, 3 weeks after the Second World War had broken loose, we were approached by the Soviet Union and given a kind of speech which I always think sounded like this. Estonia. You are a great, great security threat to the world. But we like you. So we are going to send our armies and our tanks to your country for free.
All right.
Seriously, that's actually what they said. We were just like, no, thank you. They said they're on their way. So in 1939, actually this is really serious stuff, guys, don't laugh.
Okay.
Before any battle of the Second World War had been fought, all of the Baltic states were approached and given the ultimatum. For us, it was whether or not we would allow 30,000 Soviet troops to walk into our country to protect us.
For free.
For free. But if we were going to refuse this offer of protection for
Free?
we were going to have a full-blown war with the Soviet Union. We were weighing our options. We said, send their men. You know, what else can go wrong?
Right.
But a year later, they sent another 100,000 men, established their military bases, and in the June of 1940, Estonia was forcefully incorporated into the Great Soviet Union. We were sad. No. Thank you for your empathy.
Sadness.
Hangover face.
Yeah.
You're just hungry. Anyway, so the thing is, from the second half of 1941 to 1944, there was a Nazi occupation here. And actually, I've actually had a lot of tourists come up to me and kind of say like, Heli, I heard you guys were rooting for the Nazis.
Yes.
And I'm just like, awkward. Because I'm going to be honest, a lot of people in Tallinn, when the Nazis first arrived, were quite happy. And this had nothing to do, of course, with Nazi ideology. This had everything to do with the fact that they had just driven the Soviets off. Because 2 months before the Nazis arrived, the Soviets had deported 20,000 Estonians to Siberia, never mind the people who had killed. This was just the beginning of communism, the tip of the iceberg. This was going to continue. So we were desperate for any way out. And there was less, of course, violence against the local people over here during the Nazi occupation. But of course, we had concentration camps where they made all the Estonians do all the dirty work. Now we're getting to a really sad topic, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh well. I can talk about this a little bit later as well, but basically, being a small country like Estonia is in the world, you're actually not given a choice, oftentimes. You fight for one side, the other side, the Soviets, the Nazis, whoever takes over as boss. So oftentimes, we then kept wondering, so if we can't fight for ourselves, who can we fight for?
Who?
Well, Finland. Actually, what happened was during the Nazi occupation, thousands of Estonians would find little fishing boats, and in the cover of night, they would swim over to Finland to fight with the Finnish in their winter war against the Soviet Union, because we knew we couldn't make a change over here at that point. And things went from bad to worse, because this is Estonia, when in the March of 1944, the Soviet Union came back, and they came back by bombing all of the major Estonian cities. The people in Tallinn had one deal. At night time, everyone had to turn off their lights. So the planes would maybe fly past. But 9th of March, people in Tallinn, they looked outside their windows like that guy over there. That's awkward. And what they saw was actually there were thousands of light flares coming down from the skies attached to parachutes, gliding down, lighting up the city. Just as daytime is right now. That's when the 350-something Soviet airplanes came. This is not what airplanes do. And 1/3 of Tallinn was completely destroyed by Soviet airplanes. It is a very tragic event, people still remember, but again, the bombing of, like I said, Estonian humor is really strange and dark and crude and sarcastic, so we actually found a funny side to the bombings. The thing is, the bombings of Tallinn, you're not going to remember anything. That's why you're recording.
Exactly.
Like, what did we do today? Now, this is actually a question for you. Give me this camera. Yes. Now, the thing is, very good. Smile with your eyes. Almost. Now, the thing is,
Yes.
the bombing of Tallinn was not supposed to happen on the 9th of March. It was supposed to happen the day before, on the 8th of March. But they had to postpone the bombings because they discovered, when they looked into their calendar, that the 8th of March is a very, very important day in the whole world. Now, do you know which day?
Women's Day.
What did you say?
Women's Day.
International Women's Day! No, seriously, it's a thing. So what happened was the pilots decided to celebrate. But celebrating oftentimes really does mean candy, flowers, vodka.
Vodka.
So
Yes.
seriously,
What?
no vodka for you. No.
It's 12.
Vodka.
Eastern Europe.
So basically what happened was the pilots actually, this happened really, decided to celebrate. But celebrating oftentimes, like I said, meant candy, flowers, vodka for you. So the men just got really, really, really drunk. So the next day everyone's just like, at least I love my wife. They were just so hungover that Tallinn was actually mostly destroyed by female pilots.
Wow.
Who were just really pissed off that when men had gotten drunk. But that's why men say only 1/3 of Tallinn was destroyed, because women can't fly airplanes.
Oh, they found something.
Which is kind of a mean thing to say, but the fact was that where this cafe is over there, there was a very famous German officers' casino / restaurant / brothel called the Golden Lion. And one suicide pilot, she crashed her plane there because she really hated the Nazis, who had actually left 2 days before.
Oh.
And the men said she just wanted to park her plane. Oh well.
She died for nothing. Poor.
Oh, well.
Yes. Oh well.
Anyway, to end this really quickly, the Soviets denied ever having bombed Tallinn. They said it was the work of the Nazis, even though everyone knew the truth. The truth officially only came out after about 50 years of Soviet occupation number 2, when we finally became re-independent on the 20th of August 1991. Quite recently, and because we managed to celebrate our re-independence day last year, this is 2013, just in case future space people look at this.
The 10th of July.
10th of July, I didn't know that.
Yes.
My milk is gonna expire tomorrow. Anyway.
Okay.
Because we managed to celebrate our re-independence day last year, not yet this year, but last year in 2012, this is actually the longest the Estonian Republic has ever been independent. 21 years.
Yes. Hello.
And scene.
Finished? We're done?
Yes.